top story this week, Italy up a data. It's a no good. Andy,
are you auditioning for a pasta advert, John?
No, it's just I saw Scorsese. I want to show him that I can do Italian. It seems that Italy is about to join the list of countries who, economically speaking, are in a volcano of pain. They are the latest country to have their credit rating cut by Standard & Poor's, who lowered it from A+ to A. And that might not sound bad, A+ to, still A, but it really is the equivalent of having a financial testicle lopped off with a sole remaining testicle now hanging and swinging around nervously and looking extremely vulnerable.
We've all been there.
Standard & Poor's explained the decision by citing Italy's weak growth and criticising Rome's response to the debt crisis so far, stating that its political uncertainty could hamper its recovery in the future. In response to that, Prime Minister, Bugle favourite and career criminal Silvio Berlusconi said the move was influenced by, and I quote, political considerations. And yes, that is true, Silvio. One of those key reasons being that you are in Italian politics, Berlusconi. You complete horn dog.
So that's right, Silvio Berlusconi, the man who puts the dick into predictable, the prick into what a prick, and the cock into absolutely anything that moves, and probably a fair few things that don't move as well. He's been rolling back the years, John. He has been doling out some absolutely vintage Berlusconi as his nation's economy has gone absolutely more tits up than the teenage girls that frequent his boudoir. He apparently has been recorded in wiretapped conversations claiming that he had 11 women queuing outside his bedroom door, but had only managed to do 8 of them. Now, that's not necessarily the kind of language that you want from your Prime Minister. I mean, we've been there, of course, in Neville Chamberlain's wilder days before the war, but only 8 out of 11. That's rare restraint on the part of Berlusconi. Of course, was born, sadly, 2,000 years too late to be vaguely acceptable. He also quipped that he spent so much time chasing tail that he was only able to be Prime Minister, quotes, in his spare time. And presumably Italy as a nation was thanking whatever gods it currently believes in for that. Just imagine the damage he could have done if he was concentrating on the job in hand, as opposed to, never mind, it's not that kind of show. Family show. It's a family show.
It's not so much the details exactly as when this is happening. Italy has Europe's second largest debt level, and that cost is climbing as lenders to Italy have become very nervous about its ability to repay loans. Basically, if you lent any money to Italy recently, don't be surprised if when you turn up at Italy's house to collect it, a little girl opens the door and says, "My daddy's not at home right now. He tells you to go f*** yourself." Come on, Martin, I can do it. I can do it. It'll be seamless.
John's been sleeping with a horse's head on his pillow for the last 10 years, Buglers, just to get himself into character.
It doesn't help that Berlusconi doesn't seem to have any real interest in solving the problem. He pushed some austerity measures through, supposedly because the European Bank forced him to, but I think it's more likely that the European Bank were forced to hire a 17-year-old girl in a miniskirt to convince him that it was worth doing instead. In fact, such is the anger at Berlusconi in Italy at the moment that I wouldn't be surprised if there is a meat hook somewhere in Rome with Berlusconi's name on it. I certainly wouldn't take any leisurely strolls past any butcher shops if I was him.
He must have done that as a role play, to be fair.
And as you mentioned, part of the anger stems from more revelations of behaviour so seedy you could sprinkle it onto soil and grow a forest of douchery from it. And the amazing thing is, these wiretapped conversations all come from a blackmail trial in which Berlusconi is, wait for it, the victim. I know, it doesn't sound grammatically correct, that, does it? But believe me, I've checked it out and apparently it's accurate. I wouldn't be surprised if he just automatically walked into the defendant's dock in court anyway, before being awkwardly ushered out, saying, well, I'm not on trial? Oh, shit, yeah, I forgot. Force of habit, I'm afraid. I'm sorry!
Well, he is currently involved in or facing 4 different trials involving a range of offences, including abuse of office, business malpractice, bribery and underage sex. Now, you might think that's pretty much a full house, but as Berlusconi has repeatedly shown, there is plenty of room in his house, and he can always squeeze in much more than you would think looking at the floor plan. And, if there's one man who could be accused of using taxpayers' money and state-owned aircraft to fly prostitutes around from various places in the world to his penis and get away with it electorally, Berlusconi is that man, John.
Yes.
Not many politicians have that. He was described in the Daily Telegraph this week as, quotes, scandal-prone, which was a rather neat way of putting it. I believe Ratcombe Mladich's lawyers used the same term in The Hague the other day. I guess it's neater than underage sex-prone or outright criminal. But anyway, I guess in the same way that Roger Federer is hitting a tennis ball prone.
The problem is that the evidence in this blackmail trial, which is now part of the public record, features some pretty low-grade behaviour from the Italian scallion himself. I say scallion, Andy, because as a man he's undeniably flavourful, but too much of him leaves a rather unpleasant aftertaste. Now,
And he does dress up like a spring onion every Thursday as well, in another one of his role plays. Dressed up as Mussolini in a spring onion costume hanging from a meat hook. Anyway...
These tapes show a man with a lifestyle so horn-based that even Caligula would have dusted himself off and said, "OK, ladies, that was fun, but seriously, I really need to get some work done now."
It's a bit of a risk, don't you think, John, for Italy in these straitened economic times, to have a Prime Minister who considers a double-dip recession to be scaling back from 8 hookers a night to 2?
The calls reveal the extent to which parties involving dozens of young models and escort girls were arranged for Berlusconi by his middleman, Gianpaolo Tarantini, a pimp and convicted cocaine dealer. He's the man who's been accused of blackmailing Berlusconi in exchange for his silence over the alleged prostitution ring. And do we need to keep saying alleged, Andy? I mean... Is it not basically legally safe now just to call it a prostitution ring? I don't know how much doubt is really involved here anymore. Anyway, the point is, in one conversation, as you mentioned, Berlusconi bragged that he had sex with 8 women in one night. He said, "Last night I had a queue outside my door. There were 11 of them. I only managed to do 8 of them. I couldn't manage any more. You can't get round to all of them." And that has to be bullshit. He sounds like a 12-year-old boy coming back from summer camp saying to his friends, "Yeah, of course I had sex. When I was at camp, I had sex with 1,000,000 gajillion girls, all of whom were models from Canada who I'm still in regular contact with, but who you cannot find on the internet."
I guess unless it was, taken out of context, and he said that he had 11 of them, but he only managed to do 8 of them. Maybe it was Sudoku puzzles. I mean, we don't know necessarily.
That's true. That's true. He was talking in Italian, and no one really speaks that language.
No, not anymore. They haven't for 2,000 years, properly, anyway.
So, because of these tapped phone calls, Berlusconi is also now accused of giving his pimp a diplomatic visa to join him on a trip to China. Tarantini apparently phoned up a colleague to ask how he could set up a night's entertainment for Berlusconi during the visit, saying, "I want someone on the inside who can organise an evening, because he said he'll get fed up with the official formal things there." And to be fair, Andy, state visits do look boring. Now, I'm sure that whenever the Queen goes away, she has a bunch of male strippers back in her hotel room so she can just blow off some steam after seeing yet another group of schoolchildren in traditional dress squawk their way through a national folk song. "That was so boring. Giovanni, oil yourself up and show Lizzie what the good Lord gave you. I'm going to bounce this 50-pence piece with my face on it off your buttocks.
Are you listening, Mr. Scorsese? Are you listening?
Come on, I can do a kind of Queen as well. If you needed a Queen, you just don't want to be kind of 1920s Brooklyn.
You don't want to be a victim of your own versatility, John. I think you should either focus on the Queen or the Italian.
Okay.